I think when you are in a relationship, you need to respect your relationship. If you're going to disrespect your relationship, then you need to end the relationship. And most importantly, when you are ending a relationship, when you are done with the relationship, you need to let the other person know that you guys are over. You need to let them, you need to have that conversation. You need to say, not that just ghosting, not that they come home from work and all your shit is just gone. Like, no. What the fuck? Talk. So I'm scrolling through Google and I found the fight between me and Sincere, that Christmas Eve fight where I kicked him out. And he didn't even leave that night because it was way too late. He left the next morning. But what happened was we went out on Christmas Eve. We were supposed to go to the mall, but it was raining, so we decided to do something a little bit different. And going to the mall was something that he was looking forward to because he was going to get me a jewelry, like a ring or something, right? Not like an engagement ring or anything like that, but just like something that, like, it was jewelry. So we didn't do that. So we got back to the house. The Airbnb that I fucking paid for was like $1,000. And for the 2 hours and so, he was on the phone with his baby mama, even though his son was with us. And during the 2 hours and so, I took a bath, I did my skincare, I was on Snapchat, I was playing on a game with my fans on Snapchat. I was playing with his son and I were watching some kid show. Like, I wasn't like up in his face or anything and, you know, making him like get off his phone or anything like that. He just deliberately just was talking to her and just chit-chatting with her. And I felt, and I still fucking feel to this fucking day, that was hella disrespectful. Because if you wanted to be with her or if you wanted her around, you could have easily invited her. I mean, it's Christmas Eve, she wants to be with her son. Like, your son was literally with us. What's going on with this? And this wasn't like, oh, she called to say Merry Christmas to her son. No, his son's like 3 at that time. Like, no, they're just on the phone chit-chatting like if I was not there. They still talking. Like, it is 6 o'clock. We've been in the house since like 4. We do not live together. This is not a fucking 24-hour fucking thing. We have this week. That's it. Maybe New Year's Eve. That's a huge fucking maybe. And maybe it's fucked up. We just had a whole fucking conversation about this. This is exactly why I don't fucking talk. Brown.
What?
I did not pay a fucking grand for this place for a whole fucking week for you to talk to another bitch.
What?
Period.
Why?
There she fucking is. Hi, beautiful. What's going on? Why are you being so emotional over fuck niggas? Homeboy just got out of jail. He ain't got no job. He don't even have custody of his kid. Like, he's sleeping on the floor of his mama's house. Like, and, you know, yeah, okay, he has a lot of brownie points. You guys, as friends, like, you guys were friends. You stayed in your lane. You guys talked about surface shit because, you know, when you really got to know him, you realized, no, it wasn't it. And furthermore, when you have a full-on conversation the night before and you tell him how you're feeling, and the very next day he shows you that he don't give a fuck, that's when you got to respect yourself and walk the fuck away. So you're doing great. So remember my theory about, like, guys always, you know, woofing about how they want a girl who's independent, who takes care of herself, who is going to be loyal and faithful and yada yada yada. Okay, but then when they get that girl, they have no idea what to do with her. They have no idea how to treat her. They have no idea. They think that simple shit is gonna fly, that it's okay. No, it's higher expectations. I'm no fucking bum bitch off the street. I'm not on welfare. I'm not over here having niggas fucking babies while you're in fucking prison. I'm not depending on anybody. I don't move like that. Yeah. But those are the bitches who have the ring. Those are the bitches who get the 2-hour phone calls. Those are the fucking bitches who got the houses and the fucking cars and all that other shit. Because a bitch like me who does shit for herself, I gotta get this shit myself. No one gives me shit. So anyway, I kicked him out. He left. Ricky showed up a little bit later. I was editing videos and I was making content, and I celebrated that Christmas day by myself. That's what the fuck happened. And between then and like New Year's or so, we weren't good, but he told me that we were working it out. So I believe that we were working it out, to the point that by my birthday in February, I got that same Airbnb again for us to spend my birthday and Valentine's Day together. So during this time, I'm thinking we are working out our relationship together. Oh my God. We have to do this again. I think we're working it out, right? Because that's what he said. Like, it was his prerogative, and he like was like, why did you take it that far? He couldn't understand it because he was in the kitchen cooking for me. Like, him being on the phone, I shouldn't have felt the way that I fucking felt, even though years later I still feel the same motherfucking way. And I was kind of like, let's just fucking drop it, because he has so many brownie points, so many years of friendship and stuff. And I was just like letting him have that one. Like, okay. Right? Then something happened with his job. He got fired, or some bullshit happened. And he deliberately missed my birthday. And he twisted it. Like, he had called me, I had called him, and I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? And it was something with his truck, and he said that he was gonna pull up a little bit later, and I was like, all right, cool, like, well, you know where I'm at. And I hanged up. He felt like I hanged up on him, which is why he didn't hit me back up, why he didn't come that night. I felt like the conversation was over, which is why I hanged up, and he just stood me up. And so the next day or so, he did come, and we had a conversation or something like that. And I remember at some point he was like, ha ha ha, you thought we were working it out? I was already done with you. Like, he literally laughed in my motherfucking face. And I was like, why the fuck are you here then? Like, why the fuck are you here then? And then he left. Because I remember celebrating Valentine's Day by myself. This is a fucking guy who always says that he always feels like he does more for the woman, that he does more for the relationship, and it's never reciprocated. That, you know, he's that type of guy that always says that shit, which is why now if you say that shit, I just think you are a fucking loser. And you are a fucking user. You're a loser and a user. Like, that's what I fucking think. And it's because of this shit with him. Then, this is how fucking forgiving and how dumb I am. I went through this mental break thing, and I think a lot of you remember that, and I was literally suicidal. And I was partially suicidal because of that shit that I was dealing with him, which I should have never even fucking indulged. That's my fault. And so I had this suicide plan to die in a princess bath in Seattle. And I went to Seattle with Sincere, and that video was there, and I also met Sana there. And anyway, and this was not a vacation. This was not a vacation where we were, you know, girlfriend and boyfriend. Did we kiss? Maybe. Did we have sex? Fucking probably. But that trip was to keep me alive. I really needed... If I had went there by myself, I would not be here today. Like, that was the fucking goal. And I told him that shit when we got to fucking Seattle, because I wanted to make sure that his ass went to fucking Seattle with me. Because we had so much history, I felt like he was the perfect person for that job, for that responsibility, for that role. Whatever you you might say. I trusted him still. And this is where crackhead grandma Amy fucking comes in. I learned that I knew of her, and the way that he was talking about her was like, oh yeah, this, girl I met in Ontario, because that's where he worked, in Ontario, like, she, like, let him stay with her, or there was, like, a van, and, something, and she was, like, real cool people, helping him while he was in Ontario and while he was working. And I was like, all right, cool. Sincere's always been very, like, friendly with the women, so I honestly didn't think much of it. And the way he talked about her, I really didn't fucking think much of it. So then on Facebook, when I fucking see that they're actually in a relationship, and I didn't know this, the other party has to accept, person has to accept the relationship status. I didn't know the other person had to accept it. It wasn't until I asked one of my fans to do so, and my fan was like, no, I'm not doing that because we're not together, like, it's gonna be like official. And I was just like, nah, really? Like, I was totally dumbfounded. I did not know that, right? I thought she was just like obsessed, attached, and was just like doing it. I literally fucking thought that, but that was not the fucking case. And I turned to Facebook in this private group called Chaotic Queens, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so, like, delusional, like, they're not together, like, we were literally together. And what I was trying to convey, which totally went left field, I was trying to convey that the day that she said that they were together, they weren't. He was literally in Seattle with me. That's what I was fucking... But anyway, that... I wrote the status, and then it got, like, over 200 fucking comments, and it went in a direction that I couldn't even grasp, and I was, I initiated it, and I was, like, egging it on, and I was just, like, all caught up in the drama. And so a lot of this shit was, like, I think at some point I updated the fucking, and I was like, I'm poly, and at that time I was open to poly, because I was really, like, popular. Then it was trending, right? Everyone was at least experimenting with polygrimace. I don't know how to fucking say it, but polygrimace. And so then, what was the nail in the coffin for me, which is my absolute hard boundary, is do not let no fucking bitch call my motherfucking phone. If my phone fucking rings and they say, hey, da 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 da, you're blocked, you're deleted, that's it. Like, no, right? That's my rule, right? And she came at me hella disrespectful. He was trying to, like, talk to me, and this is a phone that I got him. Dumb shit. Like, I'm never doing that shit again, right? So I went to fucking Metro PCS and turned off his fucking phone, right? And she was basically fucking harassing me. She was blowing me the fuck up. Bitch, I'm not your friend. Don't fucking call me. You want him? Fine. Okay, so yeah, I turned off his phone, and I just stopped. And he kept on. He literally messaged me off my business page. He literally freaking downloaded Doyo, D-U-O, the Google whatever, to video chat. He literally downloaded that shit, was trying to contact me. He literally tried other ways to fucking reach out to me, to, I guess, apologize or to fight. Honestly, that what the fuck it was, because even back in this February, he was still bringing up that fucking shit, and it had been over 2 years now. Like, it was really ridiculous. Then I learned that I needed help throwing out Anthony's things from storage. So I had called Sincere. I was like, hey, I need help with something. That's it. I'm just calling you because I need something from you. Like, that's just it. Anything else, I'm over it. It's like a year later, like 8 months to a year later, like what the fuck ever, right? And we saw each other. He helped me out with the storage. We went out to just to grab something. Once again, my fucking treat. We're chit chatting, and at least now we're like getting back to like a friend status, right? Like anything romantic. Like the last time we had sex was back in Seattle. Like there was nothing. And so then he and her got into some kind of fight. He got stabbed up. He went to prison. He was in prison. And I get a phone call from prison. And because he's in prison, I'm just answering the phone. I did not put any money on his books. I did not send him any packages. I did not put money on my phones. I didn't do any of that shit, right? When my dad passed, he was in prison. I called his brother, who, when he called his brother told him, and then he called me. And then he had got out around November or so. We haven't seen each other in like a year, 2 years at least. Like before he went to prison. Like I think the last time I saw him was when he helped me with storage, like in person. I'm pretty sure that's the last time I fucking saw him. And that was shortly after I broke up with Anthony. So that was more than 2 years ago. So that just gives you the timeline of. The last time he tried to communicate with me was on this app called Telegraph, which I deleted and fucking blocked him off of. And he was like trying to start up the whole argument between what happened on Christmas Eve and what happened with Crackhead Amy. And I was just like, you don't need to talk to me